Hey guys, this is Cassie Benedict, co-host of Coffee with KHEAA. Due to a haunting in our studio this week, our high-quality audio has disappeared. Because of that, the audio you hear on this episode will be a little different. But don't worry, we've called the Ghostbusters. High-quality audio will return with episode 18. Happy Halloween! Am I gonna pee when I see him? Am I gonna laugh so hard I pee my pants?
My arm is going numb.
You're like, hurry. 1, 2, 3.
Nicely done.
You're a Ninja Turtle.
Which one?
Leonardo.
Yes. I'm Leonardo, who got out of the crime fighting business.
And went into
Now works a white collar job.
Middle-aged dad,
Yeah.
Leonardo.
Yeah.
You know what I am?
You've got a witch hat on.
Do you know?
I don't.
I'm a parrot wizard.
Oh, beautiful.
Parrot wizard.
I love it. That's really good.
Right, I told you. Hello and welcome to Coffee with KHEAA, episode 17. I'm one of your hosts, Cassie Benedict, Director of Outreach Services.
And I am Leonardo Keith Ritchie, Assistant Director of Outreach at KHEAA.
Happy Halloween! Ooh, play some spooky music right here. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. If you are not watching on YouTube, if you are simply listening, we're wearing costumes. So Keith, tell us about your costume. I have to take mine off, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't going to last for very long.
No.
I'm already sweating. But Leonardo, I was a big Ninja Turtle guy growing up. Leonardo wasn't my favorite character, but I could find the blue. I couldn't find.
Blue is what you could
I really
find.
wanted to be Donatello, but you know.
Donatello is your favorite?
Yeah.
Weird.
It is weird. Most people don't like Donatello, but
No.
I was a Donatello guy.
Yeah. And tell us you homemade it.
Yeah, I did. I made a homemade turtle shell out of a tote lid and put one of my belts around it. So
do you have a tote at home with a gigantic hole in the top?
yeah, exactly. Now it's just shredded, but it's all right.
I love it.
Ashley hasn't seen it yet, so she's probably gonna get mad when she sees the lid. But
That's the horror part of this podcast.
I'll just blame it on my kids.
Once Ashley sees them cut up her tote for your Ninja Turtle costume.
Yeah, it was actually a throwback to my childhood. My mom was all about making homemade Halloween costumes for me. I was Robin Hood one year, and she gave me like her pantyhose, and then I was a Ninja Turtle once, and it was
What's that?
Yeah.
The Pillsbury Joe Boy is with us.
But yeah, she made a Ninja Turtle costume once, and it was like a trash can lid. So I didn't want to give up my trash can lid, so I went with the tote box. Sorry, Ash.
Yeah, we apologize in advance for you finding out that he's done this. So my costume, I'll put the beard back on for 2 seconds because it's killing me. I'm a parent wizard.
Beautiful. The elusive parent wizard.
Yeah, so if you, if you're joining us...
It is real. I knew it existed.
I know, it is real. If you're joining us from the non-financial aid world, there is a parent wizard on the FAFSA, new last year, that never really existed. Sort of existed last year. Now it exists outside the FAFSA. But it is called the Parent Wizard, and it's there to help you determine which parent you should file your FAFSA under. And should I take it off?
No, that just went right over my... I thought you were like parent wizard because you're a parent.
Oh.
Wizard. I thought it was supposed to be a play on word.
It was a FAFSA joke.
No, I didn't get it.
Well, and the whole reason why I wanted to do the costumes is because it was like, 4 o'clock in the morning one night, and I was like, that'd be a hilarious costume in the financial aid world. Like if you went to a party as a parent wizard, over the head.
Yeah.
But if you went to like a financial aid thing as a parent wizard, like that's pretty clever. Mm-hmm. So, and then I had to like use my son's old beard.
What stumped me when you turned around, we tried to guess each other's. Mine was probably pretty easy.
100%.
Yeah. Yours, I thought it was like my Uncle Danny for a minute, but
I thought that you would think it was a man witch because we've had that conversation about all of your girls in your family being witches and you being a man witch. And I thought,
like
with my witches,
man witch.
right? Yeah, with my witch's hat and my beard, he might think I'm a man witch. But no. Mommy, I'm a parent wizard. So that's what made me like, oh, we should do this. We should do costumes on our podcast. So happy Halloween from KHEAA. Welcome to episode 17 with your host, the parent wizard, and Leonardo. And we want you to not be scared of the 25-26 FAFSA. So that is the, what do you call the second title of something?
The sequel?
No. Like, with a colon, and then it says, like Harry Potter 2.
Oh,
and then the second title, what do you call that?
A subtitle?
A subtitle? Subtitle?
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was supposed to say subtitle.
Subtitle? Okay.
Well, I was supposed to say subheading, but I was like, no.
Subheading.
That's for
That's
document.
Canva. So the subtitle is Don't Be Scared of the 25-26 FAFSA.
Beautiful.
KHEAA has been involved in now almost 2 full beta testing phases where we've actually gotten to live and experience the 25-26 FAFSA. It's mostly good stuff. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, a little coffee talk. I have to take this off. It's driving me nuts. And I'm considering taking off my mommy shirt. I don't know. But first, a little coffee talk, Keith. Our coffee talk today is give me a glimpse into the Halloween costume world of Keith Ritchie. So it could be what you guys are being this year, what your kids are, good costumes you've had in the past. Just give me all the costume details.
Yeah, so I'm not great at the costumes, as you could probably figure now. So usually I go like the lazy route, like I'll throw on a Bengals jersey or something as we're going through the neighborhood. So that
and go as himself.
Right, a lot of times it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go as a sleep-deprived father every single year. But my kids this year, we've got Harper, my oldest daughter, is really into Monsters, Inc. right now. So she's going to be Solly, which was the John Goodman character, the blue.
I thought she was going to be Mike Wazowski. Why did I think
I got the names mixed up. I knew it was
Okay.
Monsters, Inc., but I'm horrible at that one's Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, Mike Wazowski is the big eye.
Yeah, it's Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. Yeah, that's what you know. Is there
I know the actors, I guess.
Yeah.
But so she's going to be Solly.
Okay.
And then Addie is going to be, which one's the blonde Frozen? Is that Elsa?
Elsa.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's going to be Elsa.
Yes.
Ashley, I feel like every single year is just a cat. Like she's got like this cat thing that she puts on, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes she'll put eyeliner as whiskers and call it a day.
Right.
And then, like I said, I'm going to be another Bengals player for the 7th year in a row.
Or you could be Leonardo.
I could now that I've got a full-on costume.
You have a full Leonardo professional grade costume.
Now I know the Benedicts go all out in Halloween, always have, right? Like
Halloween
you always
is our
you have not just a costume, you have like multiple.
We have multiple costumes
you have like a wardrobe
every year. Yeah. So we were raised. My mom's birthday is on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And so she was always so serious about Halloween. So you look back and and we homemade our costumes. Like when I saw people with store-bought costumes, I thought like, oh, their mom doesn't love them. Like, oh, you bought your costume from a store, your mom must really suck. Like, because my mom just ingrained in us, like, you home make your costumes. Yeah. So we don't, the Benedict family, we don't home make our costumes because I'm not very handy. But there are always some homemade elements. And we try to do unique costumes. We really don't want to be like one.
You don't want to be Leonardo.
We don't want to be Leonardo. We don't want to be 50. We don't want to pass 50 kids who are wearing the same costumes.
Right.
Like, we try to be unique. And so, Halloween was so important to us that my babies were born, my twins, were born 6 days before Halloween. And they had Halloween costumes. They didn't go trick-or-treating, but we did like a professional photo shoot. They were, I had found crocheted like sleepers and hats, and they were Slimer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Very nice.
Like as little tiny 6-day-old babies. And then their second year they were Max and a Wild Thing. Okay. And we went all out on. We spent a lot of money on those costumes. So we're very serious about it. And what Keith says, you have multiple costumes. If we go to multiple different Halloween festivities, Zachary's watch is not turned off.
Silence on the set, please.
Quiet on set.
I did it now.
If we do multiple Halloween parties or Halloween festivities, then we do a different costume each time. And my kids, it's not just to be unique and extra. It's also because, like, when my kids eat a sucker, it drips down their face.
It's ruined immediately.
Exactly. So, like, Elliot, we went to Boo at the Zoo, and he was King Boo, which they don't make King Boo costumes, in case you didn't know. So I had to make that one. And, like, that is
Just a white sheet.
it basically, it was like a poncho that had a ghost face on it, but then I took felt and, like, made the eyes look more like King Boo, and I gave him fangs, and I gave him a big
He
pink
does have
tongue.
fangs, doesn't he?
Yeah, with felt, and then we put he pulled his hat up and we put a crown on top of his head. He looked so cute. But that costume is never to be worn again. It's covered in, like, just stuff. And Embry was a Fooky cat for Boo at the Zoo. Fooky cat. She was very clear that's what she wanted to be. For those of you who are not parents of toddlers, spooky is what she's trying to say. And her costume was completely covered in, like sucker drool.
Oh, yeah.
So that's part of it, is I don't want them ruining their costumes before Halloween. So anyways, long story short, we are being 80s cartoon characters for Halloween. So Embry is going to be Rainbow Bright. Elliot is going to be a California Raisin. We did have to buy that one off of eBay.
I was going to say, that's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut. I tried really hard to find, like, a way to make one, but it's like he's going to look like a turd. So, like, a couple of years ago, his birthday cake was a California Raisin birthday cake. And I told the lady making it. I told the lady making it, I was like, just please don't let it look like poop.
Right.
Because, like, it's just like brown raisin. So it didn't look like poop. And then Bastion's going to be a Ghostbuster, and Abbott is going to be Garfield. I also have a costume, and it is a Care Bear costume. It is Sunshine Bear, because it's the very first Care Bear I ever owned.
Okay.
And Daniel found, and we've altered it a little bit to make it a little bit better, an Alf costume. So he is going to be Alf, and it is absolutely terrifying, the entire costume. And the one that we bought that was very expensive, by the way, the eyes are in Alf's actual eyes. So you put the costume on, and the eyes are, I don't know how he's supposed to see out of it.
Huh.
So we had to buy another mask, which looked better anyways. But anyways, I'll tell you the thing that I'm most nervous about. I'm perpetually hot. You guys know this about me. And it's going to be like 77 degrees tomorrow. I'll be walking around in a Care Bear costume.
I will say, they're calling for a lot of rain
A
up
lot
in
of
Cincinnati.
rain.
There's a chance that Trick or Treat gets changed.
I know.
So, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Same in Owensboro. Supposedly, it's going to end in Owensboro around 2. So it will be good for trick or treat. But, like, my family will trick or treat anyways. We will put
Right.
ponchos on. We
Gonna
are
tough it out.
We are hardcore. We're like the last trick or treaters.
Yeah.
Like, people are like turning their lights off when they see us coming because they
Right.
know. It's
Yeah.
like they're like, it's 10:30. What
Right.
are you doing?
Yeah, we're trying to sleep over here.
Yeah.
My kids start out like hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
They get really excited for it, and then after we walk, like not very far, they're like, "Dad, I want to go home."
Can we
And
stop?
then
Yeah.
I just try to keep them going for a little
Yes.
bit longer, and then we just break down and go back home and
We
eat a lot of our own supply of candy that was reserved for other people's
Yes.
kids. So.
We spoil our children and we put them in our big Wonderful wagon.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have to walk.
Okay.
We're doing all the walking. But I'll tell you who
good.
peters out is Nanny.
Oh yeah.
My mom goes with us every year. And every year, like,
Yeah.
hour in, she's like, it's cold. I'm tired. My back hurts.
Yeah.
So we're always like, come on, Nanny, power through.
Yeah. See, I'm all for Nanny. I'm on the same team as
Yeah.
Nanny. I'd be like, I think I'll volunteer to be the guy that passes out the candy
Yeah.
and stays at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We are hardcore trick-or-treaters.
You know, you had mentioned like the
Go
homemade
hard.
costumes. This just popped into my head from my childhood, and I still think I'm dealing with this trauma. But my mom one year made me a mummy, and I was really excited about it for some reason. I think I was like reading a Goosebump book or something about a mummy, and I was all for it. And I was heartbroken because like not once or twice, but like 5 different houses. Like, oh, are you Lamb Chop from, you know, like the lamb or whatever from whatever that show was back in the day?
Sharon and Bram or Sharon.
Whatever it was, but they all
Yes.
thought I was a lamb, and I was supposed to be like a scary mummy, and they were like, oh, you're so cute. What a cute little lamb chop.
If that ain't Keith Ritchie
Yeah.
in a nutshell. He wants to be spooky, but at heart, he's a little lamb.
Yeah.
Is our technology okay?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
plugging it in.
Okay.
Thinking
and
ahead.
now start over. Do it all again.
Yeah.
Well, you saying mummy jogged my memory, and then we're going to stop talking about boring stuff and start talking about FAFSA stuff. Zach just showed us
Breaking
a
news.
picture of
Okay.
him as
Robin Hood?
Robin Hood. That's
Yep.
so
I was
cute.
Robin Hood one year.
That's
That's
Peter
very
Pan.
similar.
Oh, Peter Pan.
Okay. I feel like that could have doubled as a Robin Hood
Yeah,
costume.
you could have been
done that
Robin Hood the
twice.
next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I look very sick in that photo. That's just how I looked as a child. I was very pasty.
Very sickly child.
I was not sick at all, but I looked like I was sick.
It's fine.
You said mummy, so I'm going to tell a quick story. Embry often comes to me and says, I want to dress up like a mommy, or I want to be a mommy. And I'm like, oh, baby, that's so cute. And then she'll bring me a roll of toilet paper. And the first time it happened, I kind of took offense to it. I was like, this is what you identify with mommy, is a roll of toilet paper? Like, really? And then I finally realized she was saying she wants to be a mummy.
Nice.
But she says
Yeah.
a mommy.
Right.
She wants to be
That's
a
pretty
mommy.
good.
Here's her toilet paper. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not false, Em. It's not false. All right. Keith, should we be scared of the 25-26 FAFSA?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I gotta be honest, as you mentioned at the top of the show, we've gone through a couple stages of beta testing, you
Right.
know. And I know federal student aid gets a lot of criticism, and rightfully so in some regards, but I do appreciate that they are taking this seriously and
Yeah.
trying to make the big rollout a lot more smooth for families by doing this beta testing. And I gotta be honest, I've been pleasantly surprised with what we've seen so far.
I agree. And, I really fixated on, so we were not part of Beta 1. You had to be a community-based organization, and we
Right.
don't really fall under that umbrella because we're a state aid agency. So we were not selected for Beta 1. We were selected for Betas 2, 3, and 4. And after Beta 1, they continually said, we are seeing no new issues. And I'm like, oh, okay, so all the same issues as last year. And I will say, in the spirit of complete transparency, we did see some of the same issues that we saw last year.
Mhm.
But I think everyone was holding their breath, expecting there to be all of these roadblocks, all of these hurdles when Beta 2 opened, and we were one of 25 agencies across the nation who were selected to do this early rollout.
Yeah.
There was some concern about interest. Would parents even be interested in participating in kind of a guinea pig phase? I mean, we're testing it out to report back what we're seeing. And we were allowed to have up to 300.
Yeah.
And we had 287, 67, why can't I?
76, 276.
276.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got my numbers backwards. 276 people expressed interest. Now, in Beta 1, these 6 community-based organizations put out the call, like, do you want to do this?
Right.
And from interest to FAFSA, 25-26 FAFSA submission was a 4%, completion rate.
Right.
The people who expressed
Which was
interest,
scary to hear that.
It was terrifying because we were
Yeah.
like, are we going to do all this work? 20 people are going to show up.
Right.
And so we already seeing, 276 people told us they wanted to do this, which was encouraging to us. And they have to go through this 3-step process. Really, they have to register with us. They have to make sure their studentaid.gov accounts are set for both themselves and the contributors. Then they have to fill out an FSA interest form, and it has to match. Everything has to match perfectly.
Right.
And the FSA ID has to be verified before they get their interest form vetted or whatever. Anyways, it was a process. And so then we got our count. They couldn't tell us who was confirmed, but they could tell us the number of students confirmed. And of the 276, 95 were confirmed, which that was a good number in our mind, but also scary number because it's like 40%.
Right.
42% was, I think, the calculation I did. And then of the 95 confirmed, we actually completed 78 of them.
Yeah, that's pretty
Which is
solid.
pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean, so we were going at I don't know that rate. I had sent it to someone earlier this week, but I don't know it now. But anyways, much higher than 4%. So we felt really good about that. For Beta 3, we are allowed to recruit up to 1,000 students.
Yep.
We've had 986
Something like that, yeah. We're right
express
up
interest.
to it.
Yeah, right up to that 1,000.
Yeah.
And so we today, or first thing tomorrow morning, we should get a count of how many were actually confirmed through FSA. And then there are over 20 site hosts across the state hosting in-person events. We've got some virtual help labs
Yep.
happening. They can do it on their own if they feel comfortable with that. And so, like, we're rolling. And there was this, moment of holding our breaths the day they showed up, the 78 people or whatever showed up to get their FAFSAs filed. And then it was like after the first hour or so, we were like, this is really kind of okay. Like, it's not the mass hysteria that we're used to.
Right. And I think, when I say I'm pleasantly surprised with the product so far, part of it was my expectation was probably so low. I made that joke at CASPA last week that I think that bar was so low that that's why no matter what, it would have been an improvement. But
it could have only gone up.
But in all honesty, there were some glitches that were a little disappointing to still see a part of this FAFSA, but by and large, a majority of the folks who came in were able to get to the finish line or at least get a good chunk of it done. And for that, it makes me pretty hopeful for the big rollout in December.
And, the assumption is, and I think the goal on FSA's part is, we report what we experienced in, the Beta 1 school, or the Beta 1 programs, the Beta 2 programs, the Beta 3 programs. We go back to FSA and we report, this is what we saw.
Yeah.
And then the assumption is they're working on fixing that before the next phase. And so I'm interested to see as we go through Beta 3, and you and I really won't have a lot of hand in it because, we have these site hosts, it's virtual help that, we're not able, Keith and I are not able to sit in on the virtual help. We can surely observe it. But to see how many of the glitches we saw in Beta 2 have been resolved by Beta 3, and then ultimately resolved by December 1st when it rolls out. Like, I am very excited that there's the potential there to fix some of those issues before the December 1 rollout.
Yeah. Another thing about that date of December 1 that I think is promising, if y'all remember this time last year, we were still kind of like, when is it going to open up? And it kept kind of going back further and further and further. And I know some folks are still nervous about this rollout. Will it actually happen? I've not seen anything to make me feel otherwise. I mean, it seems like, at least with this beta testing, the FAFSA is close to what I would call a finished product.
That's what I'm thinking. How could it be pushed back when we already have a 25-26 FAFSA that's open to these, what have they said, 35,000 people have already completed and submitted their FAFSA at this point? Right.
I just feel like, for those who are still a little timid about that, I really don't think it's going to be anything like how the 24-25 cycle was. I know that there are still some issues that need to get worked out. Still don't love all of the undocumented parent situations. Right. In terms of getting these student aid accounts through and verified and all of that. That was a nightmare last year. Still looks like there's some work to be done in that piece of it. But by and large, it seems to be serving its purpose of being able to be a functional form. And I don't think we were anywhere near that this time last year.
No, definitely not in, going into November last year. It was still an enigma at this point last year. But I do think you're right. I do think when they said December 1st, they meant December 1st. Yeah. I do think, if they had said October 1st, I don't think we would have had time to do the beta tests. Right. And I think we largely would have had some of the same issues we had last year in terms of the delays and the waiting rooms and the site crashes and them taking, the soft opening and all of that. I think December 1st is a legitimate date. Yeah. And I'm excited to see, I'm just excited to see what it looks like on December 1st. Have they made the improvements that we kind of set forth for them?
And again, I really do appreciate that they've done these different waves of beta testing, and like you mentioned, beta 1 was very, very concentrated and very controlled. Right. Beta 2 was a little bit looser, but still relatively controlled. They encouraged in-person workshops at a centralized location, hence where we hosted one. Right. Beta 3, the floodgates open a little more, and then this beta 4 that's going to start in November, and mid-November is going to be even more wide open, where it's okay, contact us if you run into an issue type of thing. To me, that just seems like a much better way of handling, getting through all these kinks versus the soft opening last year, because it felt like with the soft opening, they would flip it on and they take it away, but it was never like a concerted effort of like a controlled environment. It was like, all right, everyone, have at it.
Open the
and then wait,
gates.
whoa, let's take it back. Fix this and that. So I think that this is just a much more calculated way.
I agree.
To get to where we need to be in December.
And to hear, Jeremy Singer, who's taken over kind of the FAFSA processes right now on the national level, to hear him talk about it, beta testing is totally normal in like all software circles. Like it's just what you do. And so the fact that we've never done it with the FAFSA is
it's unprecedented. And I think it makes a lot of sense that they do this. I think it makes
perfect sense that they did this. I did want to give a little bit of timeline background because you talked about beta 4. So, beta 1 opened October 15th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was October...
No, that was October 1st. October 1st was beta 1.
Beta 2 was the 15th.
Yes.
Yes, beta 2 was the 15th. And so that's when we kind of got our hands in it. Was the end date for the FSA interest form was like the 7th or 8th or something like that. Beta 3, the cutoff date was the 28th of October. So October 28th. Then those FAFSAs will become available November 1st through the 7th is kind of that period of beta 3 testing. The cutoff date for beta 4 is November 6th, so next week, which I was, just before the podcast, I was like telling Keith, like, that's not next week. And
it's here.
It is next week. And then they will have access to their FAFSA starting November 15th.
Right.
So, and then if they're not selected for beta 4, they don't get in or they don't get confirmed or whatever, 2 weeks later, the FAFSA opens as a whole. And so, I'm excited to see the number of FAFSAs we get filed this cycle with the beta 2, the beta 3 phase, and how many we get with the beta 4 phase, because we could be going into the rollout having several thousand students already in the box, done. Yeah,
one of the things I've been asked from several families, during this process of signing up for the beta testing and completing their FAFSA early is, what does this mean in terms of the grand timeline of everything, in terms of getting like my aid offers and things like that? The beauty of it is it's not just testing the process of the application, but it's also the back end, the processing end. Colleges are receiving these ICER records, and KHEAA is able to see these FAFSAs coming through. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get your money quicker or anything like that. I know a lot of the college reps that we've talked to and financial aid offices have not quite gotten to that point yet to do much with the records, but from a student and a parent perspective, it's just being able to check that off the list of to-do, right? So having that behind you, and you can start focusing more on scholarships and continue to apply to schools and all of that. It's one of those things where it needed to get done anyway. So to be able to take advantage of the beta testing, to have additional support from KHEAA and outreach and the whole 9 yards, I think that was really the benefit for a student and a parent. Is to get that done in a controlled environment.
And there may be, because, so the FAFSA on the back end is called an ICER, which is the data that the college receives when you have it sent to your college. We're hearing reports from colleges, they have gotten their ICERs, they look good, they're downloading well, and it is up to the college whether they sit on those and don't start rolling out aid packages, aid offers, or do they go ahead and do that? And so, I was saying in the FAFSA training that I did on Monday, presumably there could be some students in Kentucky who are receiving some aid offers or aid notifications right now because they filed their FAFSA, October 15th. And so, that's good news for everyone, because that was those were some of the biggest issues with the 24-25 FAFSA, is that ICERs were so delayed and award letters aid offers were so delayed that, students just couldn't make decisions. And we just got an email from NCAN saying freshman enrollment was down 5%, which, you hear 5%, you're like, that seems negligible, but when you're at college campus, it's not.
Right. It's a big deal.
5% is a chunk of your operating budget.
Yeah, it is.
And so, we think that was the to blame for a lot of it, was just the delay and the compressed timeline.
Another thing that I've noticed with this beta testing, I was talking with Brittany Foley, our West Central Kentucky outreach counselor, the other day, she did a magnificent job of recruiting families to come to Frankfurt to get help with their FAFSA during beta 2. But anyway, something that she had told me, which I was really, really happy to hear, last year, it was kind of a common issue. Student family would get to the finish line, they would submit their FAFSA, and it would just be in that in-review stage for a really, really long time. Even though that, traditionally we've always thought of it as like a 1 to 3 turnaround, or 1 to 3 day turnaround. Brittany did confirm with a lot of the folks that she had brought into Frankfurt office that all of their stuff was processed within a day or two.
That's amazing.
So that to me is a night and day difference between what it was like in January, February, March of last cycle.
Absolutely. Already night and day better.
Yeah, but she went in and logged in with the group of families that had come in, and every single one of them that had submitted their FAFSA, it was already finished processing.
I love it.
So
I love it. All great news. And so other than just ironing out some glitches, like not a huge amount of changes to the 25-26 FAFSA. We did get word that there will be no renewals again this year. Did we talk about this on the last podcast? Potentially. You probably didn't listen. So we'll tell you again.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
Oh, really?
That's crazy. Keith and I say, if we're busy doing other things and someone's talking to us and we keep saying like, oh, really? Oh, really? That's crazy. Like, we're not listening.
Yeah.
We're definitely not.
You've caught me on that a few
say,
times where it's like, remember this? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, really? Well, you said, oh, really, a lot of times.
You responded, oh, really. Now when I hear it, I'm like, okay, stop. Are you really listening to me?
Right.
Now we call each other on it. We're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Let me say
I
it
need
again.
you to actually pay attention
and
to what I'm
now
saying.
we've just given away our methods. And so our staff, anytime we say, oh, really, they're going to be like, are you really listening?
Yeah.
No.
Fortunately, none of them are watching this. But
yeah, they also don't listen
our
to
secret
our
is still
podcast.
safe. Now your mom is going to know from here on out.
Yeah,
when you
she'll
tell
be the
her
only
really.
one.
Yeah.
I better when I talk to you now because you two have never said that to me.
No, we really listen to you, Zach.
Yeah.
To me.
I listen to Lene too.
I do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways.
It's really just Cassie.
I know, I was going to say. It's really just when Keith is just really on one. He gets a lot of O'Reillys.
Oh, really?
O'Reilly.
Oh, really?
Welcome back to the 24-25 Olympics here in balmy Frankfort, Kentucky. We are thrilled to introduce this new event to the Olympic arena, the FAFSA competition.
That's right. In this event, potential college students as well as current college students will attempt to file their 24-25 FAFSA, which has undergone quite a few changes this year.
That it has, Brandy. A lot of athletes really thought this event would get easier, but in fact for some of our competitors, it's gotten even more challenging.
Thankfully, Cassie, most of the athletes here today have trained under KHEAA, so I'm sure we're in for a real treat to watch them compete.
Let's get right to it. First up, representing Southern Kentucky, we have newcomer Mackenzie Massey. She's only been in the sport for a few years, but she's really taken it by storm and made a name for herself.
There's been a lot of buzz around this performance, and everyone is sure she'll be taking home a lot of aid today.
All right, the setup here is going to be one of the most difficult because she has to remember an FSA ID and password that she created months ago. We have a lot of confidence in her. Let's see how she does.
And she's nailed it. She must have written that down in several places.
I'm very interested to see how she does on this next part where she will actually be attempting to invite contributors to participate in her FAFSA.
Flawless. You can really tell she's been paying attention to her KHEAA trainers.
All right, and now she'll attempt a sizable dismount as she signs and submits her FAFSA.
And she's done it! There's a lot of aid in her future, and I bet Southern Kentucky couldn't be more proud.
welcome back to Coffee with KHEAA. Keith, so we just want to talk a few things other than beta testing. What's going on in our lives right now? Talk to us a little bit about the FAFSA Completion Challenge.
It's a really fun initiative we do each and every year, and it garners a little bit of competition among our schools throughout the state of Kentucky. But essentially, schools can compete to have the highest FAFSA completion rate in the state of Kentucky. And we typically have 4 winners each year. We split them up into different categories based on the size of the school and public versus private, all of those. And the thought is, it helps level the playing field a little bit, but schools can have a lot of fun with it in terms of promoting the importance of FAFSA completion and encouraging students to go through the process. But in doing so, when we select our winners based on that FAFSA completion rate in the spring, they get $500 to be able to be used toward future college access
Endeavors,
programming.
yeah. Or
Field
if they want to
trips,
have a
you name
pizza
it.
party.
There we go. We've seen that as well.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing. And also, one of the things that goes hand in hand with that is we also have a scholarship drawing for just any student in Kentucky who completes their FAFSA. They can fill out a quick survey that literally takes less than 30 seconds to do. And we randomly draw a handful of students for $500 scholarships. So it's some exciting things to just make FAFSA completion a little bit more interesting.
Yes, and that all of that information can be found on kygoestocollege.com. There were other things we were going to talk about, the NCAN commercial. So we got a grant from NCAN a minute ago, in April, I think. And our initiative with that grant was to make a very high quality FAFSA completion push commercial that we could use year after year. And so it's done, it's filmed, currently being edited. We're currently in post-production, that's what that's called. And it will go live late November, early December, so just in time
Exciting.
for FAFSA to open. It definitely says file your FAFSA today, and so I'm kind of going back and forth, like, do we release it a week before the FAFSA opens if they can't actually file their FAFSA today? I don't know. I'm toying with that idea right now. With that's what I'm grappling with.
I think I'd be in the camp of waiting until it's open.
December 1, we launched
Have
the
that
commercial.
urgency of hey, now go do it.
Now do it. It's
Yeah.
open. Let's do it.
Yeah.
There was another thing though that we were going to talk about.
FAFSA-thon commercials.
Ah, the FAFSA-thon. That's right. That's right. Okay, so during the FAFSA-thon, y'all, we talked a lot about this. If you follow our YouTube page, if you follow our Facebook page, we talk a lot about the FAFSA-thon because it's kind of a pinnacle moment in all of our outreach careers. But we needed content for 12 hours of live streaming. And so we filmed these FAFSA pushes that we called kind of like low budget skits, or as my son calls them, LQ, low quality. Yeah, he watched a couple and he was like, yeah, these are definitely LQ. And I was like, LQ? And he was like, low quality. But they were meant to be low budget, no budget.
Quite
skits.
the critic.
He is quite the critic. He's a tough crowd at 5 years old. And so 6 now. That's right. My baby's just turned 6. Now they're like little boys. They're not babies anymore, and they have such attitudes now. So I just checked my phone. My husband was like, "Yeah, Bastion had an attitude all day today." And I was like, "Yeah,
Checks out.
6. I'm the stupidest person on the planet now."
They're teenagers already.
They are teenagers already. It happened overnight. Like last night, he said, "Mom, you don't know anything about this." I mean, he was right. Because it was a toy that I knew nothing about.
Isn't he the one that also fixed your car?
Oh, that was Abbott. Yes, he is genius level. I had my van for years and had never paired my cell phone with it because I didn't know how to do it. And my then 5-year-old child did it for me. So.
If it makes you feel any better, Cass, we were driving down the road the other night and Addie just posed a question. I don't even remember what the question was. But apparently it was directed toward Ashley and not me. And I was just driving and I answered the question and she's like, "Dad, that was a conversation between Mom and me.
Oh.
I was asking Mom something. You shouldn't
weren't
answer other
invited.
people's questions." So I felt about 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
So,
You're not invited to this party,
That's
Dad.
right. It's an A and B conversation.
Wow.
See your way out.
Mm-hmm. We get that a lot in our house.
Yeah.
Like I wanted Daddy, not you. I wanted Mommy to answer that, not you. And so it's always.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't take
Right.
offense to it because I'm pretty sure if Ashley would have answered, she would have said the same thing. And like, oh, that was directed towards.
Yes,
Dad.
exactly.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's whoever will say yes to whatever it is she's
Right,
asking
right.
for.
When my
Yeah.
kids are like, I was talking to Daddy, I was like, great. I'm like, great, great. Ask your dad.
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, low quality videos. So we have these FAFSA, these like just fun, silly skits that we wrote about completing your FAFSA and why it's important. And those are all being posted currently on our Facebook page and YouTube. Not just on our Facebook page.
Instagram.
And Instagram, that's right.
MySpace.
What's your favorite one? I feel like I know what you're going to say.
I like the FAFSA genie. That might be my favorite one.
FAFSA Genie's so good.
That might be my favorite one.
Your favorite one isn't Rocky?
I liked it.
You liked it, but
It's
you
not
liked
the
it.
name of it. That one's called Randall.
Randall. That was said
That's
Richie. Randall.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that was good.
That
I think
one's
they were
so
all good. to
They
be
were
honest.
all so good.
Yeah.
I love the Olympics one.
Oh, that was
I
good.
I just think that, and I don't know who wrote it, but man, that writing is
I think it was
just,
Coen Brothers, wasn't it?
I think it was the Coen brothers. They did Stranger Things. Is that right? Who
No,
were
the
the
Coen brothers are like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And
Oh, who
Big
wrote Stranger
Lebowski
Things? What are their names? Something. They're brothers too.
Yeah, I don't
Got a
know.
lot of brothers. I don't know. I think it was the Benedict brothers. But yeah, the FAFSA Olympics one, I just think that dialogue is just really. I mean, I know that I'm patting myself on the back, but I know that that's pretty genius. Okay, what's Lene's favorite? Let's ask out loud. What's Lene's favorite one of all of those?
I feel like the editing for Brandon's FAFSA Dreamland.
Oh.
is
FAFSA
so weird.
Dreamland is so good.
I feel like whoever
one's
edited
so
that should get a
good.
raise.
That's
You're
right.
right,
Yeah.
right. That one, it really is so good. What about yours? What's your
Mine's
favorite?
Randall because I filmed and edited that one.
Yes.
And that one, I'm so proud of that one. I
I'm
love
so
it.
proud
My
of
heart
that
rate
one.
is still increased
I
from
know.
filming
Keith
that.
had a mild heart attack
Yes.
during that one.
Well, you did make him run
the whole
up and down the
production.
stairs at least 12 times.
Over and over.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Cassie
not a
was
one-take
ruthless
wonder.
with the takes.
I'm a bad. I'm like a hard director. You
Yeah.
get it right, or we
I was
will
like,
stay here all
after
day.
the first time, I'm like, I think that's pretty good,
Yeah.
guys. And she's like, no,
It's
again.
like cut. I'm like, that's not your job.
Yeah. That's a wrap, everyone.
I
And
say
she's
cut.
like, no,
No.
I'll be the judge of that.
I'm like, run again, and this time not as much heavy breathing.
Right, yeah. We can't hear the dialogue. We can't hear the music.
Quit grabbing your left arm like that and your chest, please, while you're running up
Look
and down
like
the
it's not your
stairs.
first time
Yeah.
running ever.
Right, exactly. Looks like you didn't fail gym class in first grade. If you don't know what we're talking about, you should head on over to the KHEAA's Facebook page and check out some of our LQ FAFSA videos. They are low quality, but they're heavy on heart. All right, Keith, that's it for us.
I think so.
Yeah, we haven't had lunch, and I'm gonna pass out any minute. No lunch and lots of caffeine.
That's right.
So-
Yeah, a little jittery.
A little jittery. Thank you for joining us for episode 17 of Coffee with KHEAA. Join us back here on the orange couch, the beautiful, if I might add,
Elegant.
elegant, high class orange couch
Beautiful.
And matching pillows.
with matching
Yeah.
pillows.
Very cool.
And until next time, KHEAA later. Happy
Happy
Halloween!
Halloween. Trick or treat.